So the idea after deburring the aluminium is almost have one of these plates on. We place this is like acrylic, about 5mm thick, but one of these plates on the bottom, and I've got some of these. There it goes on the floor. I've got some of these are for wood basically, and I have spikes on. It's like a tube with a thread on. You see, so I'm going to flatten the spikes down. Going to have holes drilled in this aluminium sheet. Have these in. Probably just super glued on there. Then that's 2mm aluminium, by the way, 2mm thick. Have this on top, and that will hold them in place. Hold the. Sorry about that. So basically, that sheet with holes drilled in, and these poke through with the prongs for wood. Don't forget, flattened. That on top, that will stop these getting pushed through, because the bolts will come up here into here and will have to be adjusted from the bottom, obviously on springs. On top, and then there'll be, well, I'm just going to put this on for now, but I do have a piece of cork to go on there. Another, well, on top of the cork, a heating bed pad, an aluminium sheet on top of that. All this will help spread the heat out, and the cork will help insulate it to a certain extent. And then possibly some other material on top of this to actually print onto. So that is the plan. So I'm going to be getting these lined up and drilled out first. Oh, by the way, these bottom sheets are deliberately a bit bigger than the top sheet. Well, a bit sort of more in the depth there. And the idea there was actually to have maybe a little bit in front of the print bed, because this will be the print area, 275 by 200. Well, this is 220, I think it's a little bit over even this one. But anyway, an idea there, possibly have some LEDs on here. That'll be the front, maybe something like that. And any need to wire in the heating sort of pad here, like support, to support the heating pad for the cables. Think about your cables, because this is going to be moving this bed all the time. So first of all, I'm going to have to get the bottom sheet like lined up. Doesn't matter which one of those two really. And then drill the holes in there for these things to go through. That is the plan. Right, first of all, I'm going to see about if I can or not. I'm not sure if this is going to work out actually. Hammer these prongs. These are, as I say, meant for going into wood. Do have a thread inside. You might just make that out. Get different sizes, different diameters, different lengths. Generally, the bigger, diameter, the longer you can get. Basically, I'm just going to put the point of these long nose pliers in there lightly. Don't want to damage the threads. And then I've got this lightweight hammer. And that's one of those prongs hammered pretty flat. Making sure that they are sort of going over, like the direction, not going on top of each other, because then it'll be a double layer. We don't want a double layer. So I'm going to still that down. I'm going to put this angle because I want to point to. So that's about all 4 of those prongs done. Gonna lay it on here. Oh no, I can't do that. I was hoping I'd be able to like lay it on there and flatten it a bit better, but because of the thread thing sticking up I can't. Careful of your fingers. So I want it quite flat as possible really. That's one, and basically I'm going to probably do 5 of them because I might damage the thread on one of the others, and that'll give me a spare one. Then I'll come back when I've done the same with all the other ones. So if you get a point almost sticking out as shown here, I'd say tap that down a bit as well as you go. Now be careful because these can be pretty sharp around the edges and the points, the prongs. So now I'm just testing them with a 4mm bolt. Make sure I haven't damaged the threads on them. You might be able to chase out the threads if you have a 4mm tap anyway. Yep, that's okay. So the basic idea there would, like the aluminium sheet under this ledge, aluminium sheet on top to stop that getting pushed up, and a spring below. That would just go through a hole in the bottom like plate, so on a spring it would go almost up and down, something like that, and yet allow adjustment by turning. Well, there'll be hopefully a different type of nut on, bolt on here, I mean, one with a wider thing to turn or whatever, yeah. So that one's alright. So that is the basic sort of idea, similar to what I did earlier with the roll balls, but those weren't effective, not in the plastic anyway. I think these will be better. Now you can get a thing called well nuts, which are very much like these, but there's a tendency for the shaft, this part here, not to be quite so long. So if you're screwing that in or what have you, and it's like coming out quite down like that, you can't go quite so far. This longer shaft here, longer tube that's screwing into, will give you a bit more leeway over the distance. That is why I'm choosing these, and these are meant for screwing bolts into wood on furniture and such like. So they're going to be pretty strong, not like the roll plug idea I tried, which were far too weak. They're just meant for plasterboard really, and roll plugs are great for hollow walls, by the way, don't get me wrong. Now that's sticking a bit, which is like I was making it, forcing it round if I can. I'll keep that until later because I want to chase that now a bit, probably just by tightening it up with a screwdriver. Then I'll do the other one. Right, now when it's coming to measuring up, this is my original build plate, quite badly damaged as you see, had quite a few dings, especially in the home position here, somewhere done by the previous owner. This is about third hand, this printer, and somewhere done by me. Okay, but we can use the, in this case, the keyholes here as a guide onto this plate. Now be careful about if you turn over the plate like I am. Make sure you turn over the guide in a way, the same direction. And as I say, this one's about 5mm at the front. Obviously this plate isn't all used, as you see there's a lot spare over there, the original plate anyway. So I'm going to measure 5mm on here. I'm going to put a little bit of a mark on there to line up this, and we can start lining up the holes. So that felt tip point won't reach, because that is about 5mm thick, that, so I've got a centre punch here, automatic centre punch. check stuff. Have to be more careful with the centre punch, I think. Not reach through, yeah. So that's pushing it down to this edge of the keyhole. Make sure it's staying in line. When this punches down, it might actually knock the thing out a bit, so that's giving me 4 like dings to drill into, and then it is, I'm going to drill a small hole first, 2mm, say, and then go up to 4mm. And I'll check on the 2mm that those holes are definitely in line, so that'll give me some leeway to play with. Okay, as you see, I've clamped it to this like workbench with this clamp here and this wood. This is for cutting angles into the wood. 2mm drill. Get that lined up. I do have safety goggles on, by the way. Make sure the wire is well out the way, it's not going to cut through the wire. Not to press too hard really. Let the drill do the work. Okay, I've lined them up. So now I'm going to drill a 5.5mm hole in there, because that's the diameter. That is the diameter of like the thing that the bolt goes through in a way. You might have to, 6 would be okay actually, but I'm going to start with 5.5. Just get my goggles on, my safety glasses. Get these from the pound shop, and they're okay as far as I know. Better than nothing. Make sure the wine is up the way, and line it up more with the cross I've been putting on. So basically just go around like that, making sure I line up with the cross, because the cross is where I've lined it up when I've put the balls, put this on the bed. Make sure it lines up with the tops of the balls, okay? Sorry about that, my battery just conked out on the camera. See if these fit okay. So I'm going to do that now. And I'll come back after I've done that, I think. So basically this is how it's going to go. So I've got a 4mm bolt, washer on the bottom, washer just over the top, and a spring, and the edge of that spring goes against the thing that I've put in there, and if I press on there you can see that the spring, okay, that's catching at the moment a bit, but needs a bit of thing, and then a plate on top of that, same size plate on top of that to hold these down, and also in a way act as a bit of, to a certain extent, insulation, although that aluminium, it will be an aluminium plate. Okay, so basically I'm just going to put a couple of drops of super glue around the edges of these, just to hold them in position for now. Then I'm probably going to put the other aluminium plate on with some of this heat cement, not that I expected to get a lot of heat anyway. And I'm going to try that, I think. So first of all, just say 4 drops of super glue around there. We don't want to get in the threads, so we can adjust with this like bolt head, but I hope to get a like a nail type nut head on there, so that I can adjust from outside. So that is the basic concept, pretty much the same as the failed idea I did on the other video with using roll plugs. But roll plugs well, neither these built for this, but wall plugs aren't really built for anything like this. These are much stronger, these things. Try and show you that a bit closer. So we'll have quite a bit of adjustment there, up and down, because we've got that length of at least of adjustment. As I say, you can get bigger ones of these if you need them. So that's the next stage. Just super glue them on, put the other plate on top and cement that in with that cement I showed you. After I've done that, I'll probably come back, or while I'm here I will say that I did notice that the left hand Y forward and backwards bearing was sticking, so in another video I'm going to show you about me fitting some new smooth rails and new bearings on that. So I wanted this off anyway, so you've took that off. There's the tooth belt. Right, I've gone round and I've put some drops of super glue around each one. I also turned it over and put some bits of super glue just down near the bottom edge. Don't know if you can really see anything there, but on each one, that is, obviously. Now I wouldn't rely too much on the super glue, to be honest with you. I don't know how strong that is. I don't even know how strong this is going to be. But basically I get the other sheet that's the same size as this, and I'm going to go around the edges with this K2. Silicon black up to temperature 350C. Not that I'm going to get to that temperature in this case, I don't think. Now to make sure I've got enough, I've got 2 tubes of this. I'm going to probably keep this like protective coating on until I get this stuff well on there. I want a bit of weight, something to weigh down on that. So this is my multimeter in a little, I think it's a kid's lunch box actually. Had it for many years, been ideal, this lunch box, if that's what it was. Okay, now that's probably enough weight. It's not too heavy and not too light, just to hold this. Now it says that it can start sort of going off in about 5 minutes, so have to be reasonably ready. And it takes 24 hours I think to totally cure. Clean, thin layer, starts to dry 5 minutes, fully cured in 24 hours. Right, so you want everything reasonably ready. Not to press hard on this because I don't know how strong this super glue is, but there'll be a heat bed on top of, well, there'll be cork on that, and then a heat bed on that, and another like layer. So let's get this open. This cloth ready. I think I'll be needing a cloth. Always point nozzles away when you're doing stuff. For the first bits, it's got a bit of a smell, I don't know. I'm putting it near the edge. I want it to actually squeeze out over the edge to a certain extent. When you say thin, I'm not sure how thin is thin. Yes, it smells like a bit like vinegar. That smell. Some lines. Actually, just sugar, I think. I think that will do. And it's basically just plonk this on top, go down, line it up, as it has seeped out the edges, which is what I want actually, because I'll probably be able to trim that off. Put this on, make sure that's in line, fill in the four corners here, and then basically now I'm just going to leave that for quite some time. Well, I might give this a quick wipe on the edges, this cloth, let's get any major falls out, check that it is still in line. Wipe off any excess. This is one reason you want to like debar this. Make sure you debar any aluminium like this, that you get any sheets, because otherwise you'll be slicing your fingers open if you don't. We'll do another video about debarring this aluminium. Anyway, I'm just going to leave that now. Just maybe touch a bit that forward. I don't mind it being a little bit out of line, say at the back, but certainly not at the front, so to speak. Check that that is okay, yeah. Right, now just walk away and leave it, because I know me, I'll be wanting to fiddle about with it and then I'll bugger it up. Okay, so it's 4 o'clock, 1600 hours, the 8th of December. Basically I'm going to leave it 24 hours. Okay, it's next day. Now it's not been 24 hours, but I think it'll be okay to move about. Or before I do, I'll just, sorry about that, I'll just show you that I stood it on these plastic things to raise it up so that the pressure is on the bottom plate and the weight of the thing is on here, not actually pressing on, so you don't want it pressing on the base plate, I'm going to call that. So let's have a look at the edges if we can. Just put my hand there because it might pull focus better. That's okay, I think. Now I'm basically going to move this somewhere else and leave it for the rest of the time, because it won't be until about 4 or 5 o'clock. That's been 24 hours, and I don't want to put that under any sort of strain, but as I say, you get the idea there. That let's actually try this, yep, a bit. I can spring a bit there. These balls probably want like longer balls in there actually, and then probably spring even more, but screwing that will give adjustment in this device thing. I can't think of the name, like this wooden, for wood, as I say. That seems okay. So basically that's like what I'm going to call a bottom plate. And then, just a second, so the idea here is to have this cork. Now I know this is different size, as I'll explain that again. The cork there has heat insulation. Not this one, I am going to the Heatpad, or order a Heatpad and another aluminium plate on top of that to help spread the heat. So a bit of space at the front, say about 5mm, to put any LEDs on to indicate the heat bed's on or whatever else. Space at the back to like clamp the wires on. That is the basic idea here. Obviously this still has a coating on this plate, well so does this one. 2 different types of coating on these. I'm going to leave them on for now until that is sort of set. I'm still waiting for the Heatpad. Probably a few weeks. It's like made to measure Heatpad.